Welcome to the Boosted Volunteer Podcast. We share the stories of dedicated Booster Club volunteers and the tools and strategies they use to run successful booster clubs. We also have sought-out experts on fundraising, volunteer management, and running nonprofits to share best practices. Hosted by Robin Eissler and Evan Eissler, you won't want to miss these great episodes that will help you run your booster club like a champ.
Good morning and welcome to the Boosted Volunteer Podcast. This morning we have James Rees, the Director of Bands of Grapevine High School, and Diane Pintar, the Vice President of the Grapevine Band Boosters. And they're going to share their story about a local concert that they played for Post Malone. So I'm really excited to share this story and talk about what happens when everything meets together. Opportunity, preparation, and community comes together. Good morning, James and Diane. We're glad to have you.
Good morning. Great
Good
to be here.
morning. Thanks for having us.
Can you guys walk us through just an introduction and what your roles are in the organization, a little background on Grapevine Bands?
Sure. My name is James Rees. I'm the Director of Bands here at Grapevine High School. I oversee all of the endeavors of the high school band program here, the high school marching band, 3 concert bands, 2 jazz bands, a color guard, a winter guard, a vibrant percussion program. We have 3 feeder middle schools, Colleyville Middle, Grapevine Middle, and Cross Timbers Middle Schools. And we work really closely with all of that staff. We've got a squad of private lesson teachers and field staff and clinicians and show designers and all the things that go into making a band program run.
You're not very busy, are you, James?
Just only on yeah.
And Diane, I assume you come in and support all those groups.
That's exactly right. I'm the vice president of the band boosters. So basically, we just keep them on task, do all the things that support the kids, plan the trips, provide meals, all the little extras within our
About
program.
how many students are in the program total?
145 are in the high school program, and then more in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at the middle school campuses.
Nice, great. Tell me about how this opportunity came about. So first of all, Post Malone did a concert at the AT&T Stadium, and there was a tailgate for that concert. And y'all were invited to come with the marching band and play at that concert. So I guess a little background piece. Post Malone is a Grapevine High School graduate. Is that correct?
That is correct. He's class of 2013, I think. And so he's stayed really connected with the school and with the community. Several years ago, he bought a pair of custom Crocs for every teacher and every student at Grapevine High School. Like every single person that is in the building got a pair of custom Crocs from Post Malone. So he stayed connected with us. That's been pretty cool. And so this event showed up. What we had done independently is we had talked about on our side internally about doing an arrangement of Post Malone's tunes and then reaching out to him with a recording for it, trying to build that connection and establish a relationship. And we willed this into the universe, is what Diane and I have talked about many times, where the next week after we had that conversation, Frederick reached out to us from 102.9 and said, hey, would you guys be willing to do this? Would you be willing to come out? And it started as they were thinking about bringing some section leaders, like a small group, and having them outside the doors of AT&T Stadium as people went in. And what this thing did was it grew legs and it started to walk around, because when we told the kids that we had this opportunity, now when we got that email, we went back and forth about licensing music, because Post Malone stuff for marching band doesn't really exist. There really isn't anything out there that exists. And what we had to do was get that stuff arranged and make sure that we were okay to arrange it and to play it in a public space. And so we took care of all of that stuff and landed on, okay, we're going to bring the whole group. That was something that was really important to me. It was like, if we're going to do this, we need to bring everybody.
Yes.
And so once we had that worked out, that took a couple of days, then we told the kids, and Diane had the clarity of thought to record that happening. And which I never would. I do social media very badly. I have made 1 social media post in the last 7 years. We have a student-led team, runs our Instagram, runs our social media profile, because the students are so much better at it than we are. And I have staff members, I have assistants that help me with those things. And so all of that stuff is handled in a different way. But once we saw that video that Diane made, it was like, oh, this is nice. And it's really cool to see. Like in the moment, I felt like this was going to be really cool because I was telling the kids and like they were excited and that sort of stuff. It was really cool.
What kind of timeline was it? So you had the idea the next week, they reached out, and then how long until the performance? So how much time did you have?
They sent the email like April 2nd, and then
This email was April 23rd.
Yeah.
And so we did logistics and phone calls over the next week. We had arrangements to the 5 tunes in our hands ready to pass out to kids by May 2nd.
That's impressive.
We know people that can listen to a song, and in the same way that you can type words on a computer, they can type music into software and have it ready to go. And so we bounced back and forth with that. The top band finished recording for, is this a Texas-based podcast? Sorry, a little
Yeah, we have a lot of Texas listeners, but we're national.
Okay, so the top band finished recording for their TMEA honor band submission on Friday, May 2nd, and the performance was Friday, May 9th. And so we had the stuff in their hands in the other band classes May 2nd, and then the top band started that following Monday, and we essentially had 3 or 4 rehearsals to put all of this stuff together.
That's very impressive. And I talked about this. We did a podcast with Flower Mound Band on their Macy's trip, and we talked about,
really? I'm
Yeah.
like really good friends with those guys. Okay, cool. Yeah, they're right next to me, so yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about how they always perform on a football field, and that performance was going to be much different. They don't do parade marching typically. Did it change how you perform, or was it pretty similar to what you do on a football field, or how did that work?
This was really similar to what you would see us do at a pep rally or during a football game, because like we were set up in a similar situation. Like we had already decided how we were going to set up. We just used the same like football game day, contest game day logistics of like how we get off the bus and how we get organized and how we travel between places and all of that sort of stuff. Just the procedures that we use typically, but we just use them everywhere, you know? And so like the kids, when we roll up to, it doesn't matter where, they know like the equipment crew is going to get off the bus and help us unload the equipment. And then we're going to get off the bus and we're going to line up in score order in twos, and we're going to follow behind the drum majors and the color guard and the drum line. Like it goes in a certain order and it goes a certain way. And this was no different than that.
I always feel like marching bands could run a whole country. They're so organized defined in what they do. You guys make it look so easy. So how did you prepare the students for, I assume the audience makeup is a little bit different than what your normal makeup would be. Did you have conversations about that, or was it just, we're just going to go and get people really excited to go to this concert?
I made the disclaimer that GCISD was not responsible for anything that they would see, hear, or smell at this concert, because this is right on the edge of what you could consider like a school field trip. And for them, like, it's just another performance venue. You know, by the time you get a high school band into May, they're so used to just being able to just do it.
Yeah.
You know, and what are we going to play? What are we going to wear? What time do we need to be there? Got it. When we pulled those kids off the bus and we warmed up in the parking lot, and there wasn't anybody that was like, I don't know what to do. Like, that's not even a thing with this anymore. An outgrowth of this with the band program this year, they've been in the spotlight so many times, from a marching season to all of the concert bands and jazz bands in Winter Garden, all the performances and stuff that entails. But our program also went to Ireland in March and played in the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin.
Wow.
And then they did this Post Malone thing. And so of all the high school bands that I've taught, this group is the one that is the most capable of like just flipping a switch and turning it on, because they're so used to being in front of people. They're very confident in their abilities. They're very comfortable with a lot of people looking at them. Because as we prepared this Post Malone stuff, like in rehearsals, there was a news crew in the room almost every day.
Yeah.
ABC is here, NBC is here, CBS is here, and they want to interview kids, and they want to take pictures of rehearsal, and they want to shoot video, and they want to do all of this stuff. And so the program this year has just developed in the spotlight. Like, they don't know that it's any different. And so for this group of kids, that's been really positive outgrowth of this experience.
That's
But
awesome.
I will say that the kids did say that when they went out for that 3:30 performance, And there were so many people watching them that as soon as they started to play, everyone kind of held up their cameras and started recording them.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my God, I felt like a rock star. It was just such a cool experience because it wasn't just their parents in the audience filming them. It was strangers like, wow, this is a pretty neat experience. So yeah, they really enjoyed that part of it.
What was the role of the Booster Club in this whole process?
I'm going to drink coffee while Diane answers all of these things.
Like James said, we have been bouncing around the idea of recording a Post Malone song prior to this whole experience happening. And then when the email came through from Zan at Mix 102.9, James sent me a text and was like, oh my God, look at this. Can you believe it? We manifested this. Let's make it happen. From there, it just started like a ball of string rolling down a hill, just leaving a trail. We managed to organize the buses. We got meals prepared. We got the kids hyped up about doing it. Like James said, I recorded his announcement and sent it over to the Grapevine Edit, which is a local Instagram and Facebook page that really promotes activities and things that happen within the Grapevine area. And so I sent the video over to them and I was like, look at this. Look at what we're going to do. And they posted it and it just spread like wildfire. There was one of the local news personalities. She actually graduated from Grapevine as well. So she reached out and asked if she could share it on the news. And she posted it on her social media and it just snowballed from there. We had a good relationship with the radio station that we've developed. They provided shirts for the kids and all the parents that were in attendance for the tailgate. They showed up to one of the rehearsals and gave us a $4,000 donation to the Booster Club. They also got the kids tickets to the show, which was an amazing opportunity they were not expecting. Everyone kept hoping, like, maybe you'll meet Posty, maybe you'll get tickets. And so they came through for us on that part. Yeah, overall organizing is just working with the directors and making sure that we have a good relationship so that we can make sure that the kids get where they need to be, that they're safe, that they have a great time when they get there. And that in the downtime between performances, there wasn't a lot of shenanigans. They went to the tailgate, they had fun, but they could go back to the buses and cool down if they needed to. And just overall, it was a great experience.
Yeah. And it's just teamwork. That's really what it's about. And it's really easy in almost every situation to know what to do and to know how to work together if you put the experience of the kids first.
Yeah.
If that's really what you're thinking about, the teamwork is easy and it's fun because we're all thinking about the same thing, and that's providing a great experience for the kids.
Yeah, having the same outcome. How many volunteers did it take to make it happen?
I don't know, like 100 million, billion, zillion.
Like day of or overall?
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the whole process. We like to focus on the Booster Club volunteer aspect. So curious what that.
If you're talking just like parent involvement, the t-shirts that we wore were designed by a student, but then produced by a company that is very close to our booster board. Yeah, like they're band parents. We fed the kids in this event, like they got Raising Cane's. So we had band parents organize a meal. We had band parents that chaperoned on all of the buses. We had band parents that went with us to the performance and got charter buses so we could take more people along with us. There was parental involvement top to bottom, but that's typical. That's not because we went to Post Malone. It's because the band program at Grapevine was doing anything.
Yeah. Anytime we go to a competition, even during marching season, we have about 40 to 60 parents that come with us to Saturday all-day marching competition. So the fact that, like James said, that this was Post Malone didn't affect that. We had the same turnout, the same support as we always do. So we have great parents in our program.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Post Malone thing was probably less parent involvement because we're not trying to run a soundboard and 500 million props onto a marching field in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah,
and
no pit crew, right? No pit crew there.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
We did have parents show up at the performance, though, and they were our hype people for the hype band. They were holding the Mustang band signs, and on the back it said, "Tip the band."
Yeah.
So it had a QR code, and the crowd tipped us. It was a pretty neat experience to see the parents hyping the kids up, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they always do, but it was fun to be like groupies for a day.
Yeah. I love that. Tip the band. That's really, I'm going to put that in my Booster Club strategies. Tip the band with a QR code.
You use one of the yard signs, and then you just print out a QR code, tape it on the back, write "Tip the band," and have people hold them up when you're doing public performances.
I don't know if these
are... I don't know if these are or not, but I need to find them.
Not. I don't know if those have a QR code on the back. Here, we can show you. Yeah. We can do you one better.
I was saying, I do need one for Saturday's performance. Oh, these don't have it. I need to find them.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got round band signs that there seem to be 500 million of.
But none of the ones that say tip the band.
Yeah.
But like tomorrow we have a percussion line performance at a local bookstore. And so we'll take those signs with us too and hold them up. So then people watch the kids perform at the end. If they want to tip us, great. If they don't, that's cool too. But just that opportunity to, again, make the kids feel special, that we're there supporting them, but also get back to the booster club budget line that we need to be able to afford more fun activities for the kids.
And that's very typical in education today. I don't know of anybody that is having their school budget increased. And I don't know of anybody that's having their staffing increased. It takes a really compelling situation for a school to add a staff member, especially to a fine arts program. That's how public education works today. And so what we see now is an overwhelming percentage of the funding of the program is run through the Booster Club. And we are housed on a public school, but we are a private organization because that's where all of the funding is coming from. That's how all of the stuff that we do here at Grapevine works, is because we have very strong parental support and we have a very strong booster club. That's just the reality of how this works today.
Yeah, we're seeing that across the board. It's more and more shifting to the booster club, and things that were always considered part of the school budget are now moving over to the booster club. And it just puts that much need and pressure on the booster club to raise funds to make these programs successful. So kudos to you guys for doing a fantastic job managing that and moving all those funds around. So I know you've got this whole performance. It starts with the phone call and the email. You get the kids ready, you get there. What was the highlight for each of you? What moment were you like, this is awesome, or this is a moment I'm going to remember for a very long time?
Yeah, I think for me, the coolest thing about it was the kid experience. I think that was the best part about it, was having them, as you're going through this stuff, and just having them enjoy being able to do it. We got back on the bus after the first performance, or after the second performance, and talked them through everything about what was going to happen next. And I asked them, like, isn't this better than being in school? Because we checked them out, we fed them lunch, and then we checked them out of school and took them down to AT&T Stadium. And they were like, yeah, this is so much better. And so for me, cool. Okay, like, we're doing it. This is real stuff that's happening to them. This isn't something that they can watch on a screen. It's not something that they can hear about or think about. This is something that we're doing.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that checks all the boxes of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Diane, was there a moment for you?
I think my favorite moment was when the radio station came to their rehearsal and told them that they got tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty awesome to watch. The kids weren't aware that they were coming, and they were just rehearsing, just playing a song. And the radio station people walked in and were dancing as they walked in. And the kids didn't even see them. It was just such a fun experience to see the excitement of the radio station, experiencing what they had helped create. And then to get in front of the kids, I was in amongst the kids filming. And so their reaction when they were like, well, you guys are doing a great job and we're so proud of you. And by the way, you get to go to the concert. And the kids were actually like gobsmacked. It's funny because when we posted the video online, people's feedback were like, they don't seem so excited. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. They were in shock.
Yeah.
And to be in the midst of them, they were all like, oh, like audibly gasped. And then it was silent for a minute. And then all of a sudden they were like, we don't think that you heard us. You guys get to go to the concert. What do you think about that? And then they just erupted. And to be in the midst of that was really cool for me, but also so neat to see them. We have some young freshman kids who are like, what? I get to go where? This is my first concert. I've never been to a concert.
Yeah.
And then these high school seniors who are like, this is a great way to finish. Yeah. And so just the overall joy that they all had and the appreciation that they have for the program and the opportunities that they get to have, it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah. Warm fuzzies for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wins all around.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, what advice would you give other schools or band programs who are presented with these similar kind of big opportunities to make it happen, and what to look out for, and maybe even some of the downfalls or the things that made it a little bit difficult along the way?
Say yes.
Yeah, I think my first advice is exactly what Diane said. Do it. And at Grapevine, we have enjoyed tremendous success here because we aim high. Like, I really believe that most people don't aim too high and miss. They aim too low and they hit. And I think for us, like, we just imagined so much. What else could we do? What else could we do? What else could we do?
We got done and he's like, what's next?
What's next?
What are we going to do next?
Right.
What are we going to manifest next?
And that for us has been how we've approached everything. My first year at Grapevine was the year of the COVID shutdown. Like 2019, 2020 was my first year. And everyone is in a difficult place. The entire staff here was new. And I asked my coworkers, everyone else on the band staff here, what would we do if we were opening a brand new school? What would that look like? And so let's take this, and it can be anything that we want for it to be. And so we've just held fast to that and just tried to imagine us doing as many things as we possibly can. And so when something like this comes up, the radio station was thinking way smaller than what we were.
They said they love us and they hated us because they loved that it went so big, but they hated because it wasn't so big. It wasn't what they anticipated it was going to be. And so,
they realized real fast that we weren't in their orbit. They were in our orbit.
Yeah.
And that we were going to push every single button along the way and try and expand the circle and try and think of what else could be done. And so I think that would be sincere advice to anybody that's running a band program or any kind of program at all. Like, go for it. Do as much as you can. But I think, pitfalls, mental sanity, like, you have to really think about, like, what is going to come next. And so we were on the morning show for CBS, and then you come back to school and there's a reporter waiting for you in your office, but you still have classes to run and you still have things to do. And like, none of those things can be negatively affected because you've got that other stuff going on. Like, you have to be able to juggle all the things at the same time. And so that it makes for long days, and it makes for unexpected surprises of like, oh man, now we have to pay attention to this and we have to pay attention to it right now. And you have to make a really good choice in that moment. And I think that's the toughest thing, just to stay engaged and stay in the moment and be able to think several steps ahead in real time.
And from a booster perspective, to be able to lead from a place of yes. Like, you want to be able to say, yes, we want to provide this for you kids, and say yes to the directors, but also be able to manage your budget and say, maybe that's a little cuckoo bananas. We're not going to be able to afford that. Or how can we afford that? Like, where can we tap into our community and ask for support? Like, with Canes, because Post Malone owns a Canes, right? So of course we're going to give the kids Canes for dinner if you're going to Post Malone. So tapping into our resources of connection with Canes and asking, can you give us a discount on this meal that we're providing the kids? Can you give a little bit of extra? Can you do this? And hoping that they say yes, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I think it's all about who you know and how you can manage to work together, not overstep, but make the best opportunity for kids.
Diane has to tell me no sometimes. It is unfortunately part of her job. And I just keep coming back over and over and over and over.
But what if I word it differently? No. The answer's still no.
Or not yet. No, you mean not yet. Understood. It's not yet. Got it.
Ask me again in a week and it'll still probably be no. But
you mean tomorrow. Got it. I'll be back tomorrow.
I love this. It sounds like this opportunity met the perfect team with the right resources and the right people to make it happen. That's no small feat. You guys had about 2-3 weeks to get this done. Amazing job. Like I said, we talked to Flower Mound. They had 2 years to plan the Macy's event. A little bit different, but putting this all together in a couple weeks is amazing. Well, thank you both for all that you do, the time that you put in with the students. We know there's long days on both sides, and Booster Hub, we really appreciate both of you and your roles and making these incredible opportunities happen for the students, and so that they can take those experiences and put them into life and become better citizens. That's what it's all about, building great people to enter the world.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. And we look forward to talking to you guys in the future, because I know you're going to manifest something big, and I'm going to be calling back and say, let's talk about what you just did.
That sounds great. Can't wait.
Yeah. Perfect.
The Boosted Volunteer is brought to you by Booster Hub. To find out more about Booster Hub and how our app can help you improve communications, increase engagement, raise more money, and manage your booster club responsibly, visit www.boosterhub.com. And then make sure to search for Booster Club Podcast in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Booster Hub, thanks for listening.